So you can't see this, but hopefully you can hear it. Behind every Boise State Public Radio podcast is a team working hard to bring you stories that matter. So if you value podcasts like this one, please support them. Hit donate at boisestatepublicradio.org. Thanks.
More Idaho Matters now from the studios of Boise State Public Radio News. I'm Gemma Gaudette. If you've never seen a baby heron in its nest, well, you just haven't been having enough fun. Great blue heron rookeries can be hard to spot, but if you know where to look, you can find one at the east end of the Bethine Church River Trail in Boise. The trail actually hosts all kinds of birds, from belted kingfishers to great horned owls, even bald eagles. It's also home to willows and golden currants, Oregon grape, cattails, and its keystone plant, the black cottonwood, along with beavers and that pesky poison ivy. Photographer Patrick Stoll has written about all of these species and more in his new book, An Abridged Natural History of the Bethine Church River Trail, and he's joining us now to talk more. Hi, Patrick. My apologies. This is what happens on live radio after I've been off work for a couple of days. Apparently, I lose my ability to talk. So thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me here, and don't worry about that. It's I kind of regret making the title and everything so long, so maybe that's part of the problem.
Well, all right. I have to say, I think the Bethine Church River Trail is beautiful. So tell us, for folks who may not be familiar, tell us about the trail and where is it?
The trail is on the south side of the river. It starts pretty much where the East Park Center Bridge is. There's a parking lot there, and it goes, well, the trail itself actually runs from the east to the west, but I think the easiest way, or one of the ways I like doing it, is going up from the Bagley Park area. You can go through some neighborhoods and head down toward Bound Crossing, or come back up the other way toward what many people call the Orange Bridge. And it is in that, pretty much parallels, I guess I should say, the East Park Center Bridge, but well away from the neighborhoods. You're in a natural area, absolutely.
Well, and what folks may not know about it either, and this is kind of, I think, one of the things that makes it really lovely, is you can't have bicycles and strollers and things like that on it. It's a gravel path, but it does make it seem like you're much more in nature because of those limitations that the trail has.
Absolutely, and I think that is one of the kind of the wonders of the place.
So how did the trail come to be?
Well, the trail has actually been around for, gosh, I don't know, years. I moved out here in '81, shortly after I got out of college, and it was more of just a dirt path through there. And I loved the trail. But in 2009, Bethine Church had done just a remarkable, she was an incredible person who had done all these remarkable things. And at one point, people were thinking she needed to have some kind of a reward for all the things she had done, or I shouldn't say reward, but recognition for all the things she had done. And so it was determined that this would be the perfect place to go ahead and dedicate the trail to Bethine Church.
In the book, you really dive into nature and you start with the black cottonwood. Can you tell folks what it is and why is it so important to this part of the trail?
Well, probably because the black cottonwood is really the foundation tree for the whole trail area. There are all of the different ecosystems and all the different critters that are on the trail. They really all depend ultimately on the black cottonwood. And so that's really, it provides, of course, shelter. It provides the shade. It provides all kinds of things that the whole place really depends on. And so that's really, that's why I say in the book that it is the foundation tree for the entire trail system.
So let's talk about some of the birds you can see on the trail, because I'll tell you, every time I am on it, I always see people with binoculars, right? Trying to find birds. So let's begin with the heron rookery. Describe it and what can people see?
Well, I guess the first thing I should really clarify is that the rookery itself is probably about 300 yards beyond the east end of the trail itself. The trail ends at the East Park Center Bridge, but it keeps going from there down to it's now referred to as the Barber Park Trail. And as you go down on that part of the trail, about 300 yards on the right-hand side, you will, especially if it's in the wintertime when all the foliage is gone, you will see these clusters of nests and all of these great blue herons that are nesting in that particular area. And it's pretty fascinating. People are always out there with their binoculars watching all of that. So that's one of the birds. But there's some really other cool ones on the trail. You've got your belted kingfishers that are just pretty amazing. The chickadees, all these others. And then you've also got the really sad situation of the bald eagles, because they've been one of the things that really draws people to that trail for the last few years. Every spring, early spring, late winter, early spring, they would have lay their eggs, and before long they would hatch out, and you usually have 2 or 3 eaglets, and people from all over come down. They often bring chairs down to sit along the river there and just watch what's going on with the eagles. Now, unfortunately, back on May the 28th, one of those big storms that we had go through here really did some nasty, or some, it broke off, I guess I should say, the nest that was there. The wind and everything had broke off the branch that was supporting or holding the nest there. And the saddest part of it is that there were 2 eaglets. By that time, there were 2 eaglets in there, and they both died. And so it was a sad state of affairs. The eagles, who knows if they're really going to come back yet? Hopefully, everybody's kind of hoping they'll be back and maybe build a new nest for next year. But that's kind of the sad part of the story, I guess.
Can you also talk about some other threats? And one is fire, actually, because I believe it was about 3 years ago, when there was a fire that went right through that. And I mean, you can still kind of see the remnants, but you have some great photos. Talk to us about how the trail is healing after that fire.
Well, that's kind of an interesting one too, because it's actually 2 days away from the anniversary of when that fire occurred on July 9th of 2023, as you mentioned. And it's always been questionable, how it really started. And it wasn't a huge fire. I don't want to kind of suggest that, but it could have been if the police, or excuse me, if the fire department hadn't got down there and really quickly addressed the issue, it could have been much worse. But probably, we have all these rafters coming down the river. There's a real nice little beach there, and pretty close to the trail. And lots of times people will get off and go kind of wandering around. And it's possible, that time of day there was no clouds, no lightning, no storms. And so something started this fire. But unfortunately, it's getting to be kind of the way things are, and especially with climate change as it is not surprising that we would have lots of dry grasses down there by that time of year. So it's not real surprising if you have a mix of people in the area, and as you say, you can still go by there and you can still see a lot of the signs of the fire. But you'll also see some of the signs of healing as well. New cottonwoods are coming in, and it's kind of an interesting thing. It's a little microcosm of what happens when these fires take place.
So I have to tell you, it is one of my favorite trails, and I'm curious about why you love the trail so much. What is it that keeps you coming back to it?
Oh, there's just so many amazing things to see. The trail itself is only a little over 1.5 miles long, 1.6 miles. But it just has so many different things going on. There's so many different things to see. I've been going down there once a week for the last 2.5, 3 years, since I started on the book. But even before then, I would regularly run through the trail, even before it was an official trail. And it's just got so many interesting animals to see down there, the birds to see, the vegetation, some pretty fascinating stories about some of the relationship between, say, the willows and the a, a midge or a fly, I guess I should say, small fly that does this little thing where it inserts its ovipositor and lays an egg and forces the trail, or excuse me, the tree to start actually forming a what looks like a pine cone around where this fly was injected in there. And that's just an example of all of these different things that are going on the trail there and all the things you can see. And so, I could go on and on about all the things that are really, really interesting there.
Well, but we should say that Monica Church, Bethine Church's granddaughter, wrote the foreword for the book. So where can folks get a copy of the book?
Well, first off, yes, Monica did do that, and I appreciate that so much. She did a wonderful job. The foreword is just great. And as you say, she's the granddaughter of Bethine Church, as well as a state representative. And you can buy the book from, right now, it's the MK Nature Center. You can buy it at REI. And for another 4 weeks, you can buy it at what's called the Once and Future bookstore up on State Street, which is actually owned by Rediscovered Books from downtown. And in this particular case, I'm there on consignment in that particular location until I prove that the book does sell. And actually, it's been selling very well. And so it will be there 4 more weeks. And if everything goes as I hope, it'll end up being down at Rediscovered Books in a short period of time.
Well, I want to thank you so much for taking time to talk with us. We've been talking with photographer Patrick Stoll about his new book, An Abridged Natural History of the Bethine Church River Trail. We'll put some pictures from the book on our website, boisestatepublicradio.org. You've been listening to the Idaho Matters podcast from Boise State Public Radio. To stay in touch, you can find quick Idaho Daily News every morning when you subscribe to the Connector podcast. And if this episode meant something to you, text it to a friend.
Each story you hear on Planet Money starts with a question. What happens if we refund tariffs? Why are groceries so expensive? At NPR, we stand for your right to be curious because the forces shaping our world can be hard to see. Follow NPR's Planet Money wherever you get your podcasts and start seeing how the economy really works.